Have you ever had one of those days where everything feels off? Like the world is just slightly out of sync? That's how it started for me. My name is Alex, and this is the story of how I found my own grave. It was late October, and I decided to take a solo hiking trip through the Appalachian Trail. I needed to clear my head after a rough breakup, and the crisp autumn air seemed like the perfect remedy. I packed light, just a tent, some food, and a flashlight. I didn't expect anything unusual. But sometimes the most ordinary decisions lead to the most extraordinary horrors. The trail was beautiful, golden leaves crunching under my boots, the smell of pine trees, and the distant sound of a creek bubbling somewhere to my left. I'd been walking for about 3 hours when I decided to take a break. That's when I noticed it. A small, overgrown path veered off the main trail. It wasn't on my map, but something about it pulled me in. Maybe it was curiosity, or maybe it was something else. I followed the path, pushing through branches and underbrush until I stumbled into a clearing. And there it was, a tiny, forgotten cemetery, the kind you'd see in old horror movies, crumbling headstones, moss-covered crosses, and an eerie silence that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I should have turned back right then, but I didn't. I walked through the cemetery, reading the names on the headstones. Most were too weathered to make out, but one caught my eye. It was newer than the others, the engraving still sharp and clear. I froze. The name on the headstone was mine. Alex Carter. My full name etched into the cold gray stone. The dates were wrong, though. The birth date was mine, but the death date, it was just a few days away. I laughed at first. It had to be a coincidence, right? Someone with the same name, born on the same day. But as I stood there, the air grew colder, and I felt this presence, like I was being watched. I turned around, but there was no one there, just the trees swaying gently in the wind. I told myself to leave, to get back to the main trail and forget about this place. But as I turned to go, I heard it, a whisper. It was faint, almost like the wind, but I could have sworn it said my name. Alex. I started walking faster, my heart pounding in my chest. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. Alex, Alex, stay with us. I broke into a run, branches scratching at my face and arms. I didn't care. I just needed to get out of there. But no matter how far I ran, the cemetery seemed to follow me. I could still see the headstones in the distance, like they were moving with me. And then I heard footsteps. They were behind me, matching my pace. I didn't dare look back. I just kept running, my breath coming in ragged gasps. Finally, I burst out onto the main trail. The footsteps stopped. The whispers faded. I thought I was safe. But when I got back to my car, I found something waiting for me. A single, muddy footprint on the driver's side door. It wasn't mine. I drove home that night, shaken and exhausted. I told myself it was just a prank, some sick joke played by locals. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. The next day, I went to the police. They followed me back to the trail, but we couldn't find the cemetery. It was like it had vanished. They said I must have been confused, that the stress of the breakup was getting to me. But I know what I saw. And now, every night, I hear the whispers. They're faint, almost like the wind, but they're there. Alex, Alex, stay with us. The death date on that headstone is tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen, but I can't shake this feeling that something is coming for me, something that's been waiting a long, long time. Maybe it was a warning, or maybe it was an invitation. Either way, I can't escape the feeling that my grave is still out there, waiting for me. And when the time comes, I won't have a choice but to answer.